Oh man, put little Marvin back up there. Everybody just missed him.
That was the last thing I printed on the TiVo before I pulled it off the desk.
Screw it. I'm not going to grab Big Marvin. How much scaling is that? That's impressive.
Look at it. That's a 0.2 layer height.
Yeah, how much did you scale the model up?
It's scaled up to 50 millimeters tall.
Wow.
So I have no idea what the scaling is, but well, there's the original one that I printed on that one. So yeah, it was scaled up pretty good.
Holy crap. That is insane. So before we go any further, guys, sorry if my voice sounds kind of strange, and sorry if this is probably going to be a pretty short stream tonight, but I have self-diagnosed myself as probably having hay fever, like really bad, and I took a little bit of sneeze your head off, blow your nose all the time on camera medicine, but I'm honestly not sure if I'm even going to be up for filming Wednesday's video. So fingers crossed on that one. I feel bad about that, but I've seriously, like, if I have not had to be at school, I've pretty much been like taking Benadryl and sleeping all day. That's how crappy I've been feeling. So I feel bad about that, but at the same time, I got to look out for myself. So if you guys understand, I wish I had like stuff that I could release midweek, and I probably have something that I could, but it's kind of like a series that never got fully filmed. So we'll see. We'll see.
What do you mean? I completely understand where you're coming from because I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're even streaming tonight. I honestly expect you to say, hey, I don't feel like it.
No, honestly, I said to myself, just in case Wednesday night's video doesn't work out, at least I have something that got up on the channel. Because I have noticed, though, that doing 2 videos a week keeps my viewership, it dips a little bit, like a day or two afterwards. But then by the time the next video comes out, it spikes. It goes back up again. So I've noticed a more consistent, viewership. And being that the midweek videos are mostly just a sped up video of the Saturday's video,
yeah,
works out better that way. I also feel like it's fair for people who want to see, aren't so much interested in all the technical nitty gritty details and just want to watch a video of a 3D printer or a CNC machine or a train or a drone or me or whatever doing its thing. They have that ability to watch that and they can enjoy that. Or if they want to get all technical, they can do that as well. So I kind of feel like it's a good balance, if you will.
So I came home to find this in the mailbox. What do you think of it? I think it's too big. I think I need to bring that down a little bit. Kind of right between the, this kind of.
And if you guys are wondering, yes, I did not meet the YouTube. Did not meet the YouTube monetization requirements. So currently I am demonetized. So if you guys do feel like throwing me anything, which you don't have to, I have my PayPal donate link down below. It's totally up to you guys, but just throwing that out there.
Hey, they did take off your what do you call it? Because last night you were talking about that they still had your
yeah. Last night for some reason they had the little super chat symbol down there, and then by the time this rolls around, whoop.
Yeah, because I was going to try put something on there, and yeah, it's disappeared from my side of it.
Oh well. You know what? Like Nathan Allen says, screw YouTube's monetization system. And you know what? Quite honestly, I'll be honest, it does pay. So it's not like you don't make anything. And it's definitely something that, it pays in the background. But I made more money this weekend doing machining parts for a friend of mine than I have in the last 3 years of doing YouTube. To give you guys an idea, not including the super chat donations that I earned, which bumped me over the threshold. We'll just put it that way, that I made more money in a weekend machining some parts than I did using AdRev. But it does pay eventually. But you know what? It is what it is.
Now that you mentioned machining, what have you got coming up on your what's that called? Etsy store?
Etsy store, yeah. As soon as I get better, I haven't posted them up yet, just because I haven't wanted to put them up there and have like 100 people run in there and try and buy them, and I'm all like, I can't make them. I'm sick. But You guys have probably seen me spamming the crap out of Twitter and Instagram with it, but I have come up with my logo on a bottle opener, and sorry if it's not showing up because my laptop's camera is crap. There's my logo, and then there's Jimmy's logo.
Those look sweet, man. How much you gonna sell them for?
The plan is I'm going to sell plain bottle openers for $10 shipped in the USA, logoed ones for $15, and then some of that profit goes to the person whose logo is on the item. So,
well, I'm going to tell you point blank right now, whatever you sell with my logo, keep it. That's yours.
Okay, thank you. And I'm offering the, you know, the kickback to people whose logo's on there. For those, I mean, if people like you want to be generous and be like, keep it, I totally understand that. But I'm offering that as kind of like a little, hey, you allow me to put your logo on the item.
Here's in case Practical Printing wants a logo on his.
What?
In case Practical Printing wants you to start producing some with his logo.
Oh yeah, you know, right now I've got the mill set up. It's mostly just getting myself back into being normal Calvin mode so I can do that sort of stuff. And if you guys are wondering, these work really well. It's just in the video that you saw of me doing it. I was literally like trying to like hold my arms around a box with the camera on top while like trying to open the bottle. It was a disaster. So off camera, I went to use the thing and it's like, boop, it popped right off. And I'm like,
Eddie's saying, so Calvin, we need to talk about your psychopath stare in the bottle opener video.
that was great. I couldn't help but do that. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to have to like rush to get this video out, I'm going to mess with everybody a little bit.
That's funny.
Okay, do we actually want to talk about tonight's stream before I potentially pass out on camera from taking way too many allergy meds?
He's not in a humorous mood tonight. He's a little bit grumpy tonight.
Hey, if you've been feeling as bad as I have like the past 4 or 5 days and either sleeping all day and getting nothing done, and you have a physics test on Thursday that you've been trying to study up for, but obviously when you're sleeping all day, when you're like stoned out of your mind on Benadryl and can't think, it's kind of hard to do, but it'll be what it'll be. But I'm thankfully feeling like I'm getting on the mend. But whatever it is, it's been seriously, this is like the worst I have felt. The only reason why I'm 99% sure it's allergies is because normally if I take Benadryl and I'm feeling sick, it just knocks me out. It doesn't knock out my runny nose, doesn't knock out my itchy eyes, doesn't knock out the weird hive bump thingies I've been randomly getting.
Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Turkins has a stinking photon.
No. That's not right.
I should put some M&Ms inside this and just eat it straight out of the.
Jimmy's going to trigger all the PLA is not food friendly people by just putting his Grand Slam in there, just eating out of it next stream.
Okay, man, let's go ahead and get to your stream. So what's the conversation about tonight?
Well, the conversation tonight is we're going to be discussing, while I'm still awake and not like totally, we're going to be talking, and Jimmy's like, trying to eat M&Ms out of his chalice. The topic for tonight's stream is, oh, my eyes are itching again. Bear with this, guys. I'm really sorry. If it gets really bad, I'll just like cut the image of me and, we won't do that. But no, the topic for tonight's stream is, this is something we talked about in the Simplify 3D versus Cura chat a little bit, is the fact that, is having an internet connection to verify something's license a good idea or not? Or is this a little bit of a concerning trend that is forming? And this is not just with software. Recently, Tested.com released their video talking about the Glowforge laser cutter. And they were saying...
You got that wrong. It's a laser printer, remember?
I don't care. It's a laser cutter. They call it a laser cutter.
It's a 3D printer. That's right. I forgot about that.
Don't get me started, dude.
Yeah, if we were off air right now, Calvin would be flipping me off.
I'd just be sitting here like plotting Jimmy's revenge.
Stands right now. He's like, okay, Jimmy, that's enough.
Next time I'm flying through his area, I'll just like fly over his house with like some water balloons and drop them and then like fly away or something.
But anyway, another thing that we were talking about was just like with Simplify 3D, how they have their verification process. But from what I understand, that's not just a one-time deal. Isn't it kind of an ongoing thing where it's got to verify itself?
Okay, so in the case of Simplify 3D, to the best of my knowledge, to use it, it needs to have an internet connection to verify the license. Then once it's verified, you can switch into offline mode. But you need the initial internet connection to double check the licensing. Now, in the case of the Glowforge, which I'm using as another example of a product that is known to require a constant internet connection to a server to verify its software license. In the case of that, there have been numerous cases where the company's servers have gone down and people's machines have effectively been temporarily bricked because the machine couldn't talk to the server because the server went down and your machine's effectively dead in the water, which personally is just ridiculous.
Which then brings up a really good point of what happens if something happens with that company where they either go bankrupt, something happens where they just are no longer in business. What happens then when those servers go down?
And that's a really, really valid question. That's something that we talked about. There's usually two scenarios with that. Scenario one is the company goes down, your product gets bricked, and sorry, you're out of luck. Option number two is, does the company just decide at the last minute, oh, what the heck, we'll just make it all free and make it a free for all because we're not going to exist anymore and we just don't care and we're just going to be nice to the people who had our product and let them use it and go from there. So that's a little bit of a tricky situation because it could go either way. Now, one thing I'm surprised
I agree with Chris in this. There has to be a verification system. Otherwise, you spend $150 for a product. Well, how fair is that to you as a consumer if all of a sudden I go on some torrent deal and I download it for free and then I get the same program you spent $150 on? There's got to be a verification process. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from as far as if something happens later on.
Yeah, and I'm talking worst case scenarios here because a really good example of this is that New Matter company that is going out of business. Their machine required an online connection to run through their cloud-based slicer and software program, and it's going out of business if it hasn't already. And a lot of people were sitting there going, am I bricked? And it's a valid concern because they donated a boatload of machines to schools. And if there's no way that they can just at least keep the software running in the last stable format, a lot of people are going to be screwed and they're going to effectively have bricks. Now, I'm not saying that people couldn't go in there, rewire the machine, put new board in, things like that. I'm just talking in general. The machine that you bought is effectively now a nice little shelf item, and you go from there.
Yeah. Mr. Carroll is asking, are we talking about purchasing software or files to print? This right now is based off of purchasing software.
That's the attitude I'm coming from. Now, when it comes to software, I forget the name of the website, but there was an interesting way that a website went around. The problem when you buy a file online to print it, unless it stays inside the cloud software thingy, there's no real easy way to download the file and print more of them. One interesting case is a friend of mine thought she was buying STL files to make some little characters that I was going to print, and it turns out you were actually buying a time window that you could bring the files into a Kira-based slicing engine, which was pretty nice. But then I had to run my printer over USB to print the files with. the interesting thing was there was no way. The other interesting thing was it was an encrypted file that you needed a separate piece of software to run the printer through. So effectively, and even that had like a one-time date stamp on it. So past a certain point, the software that read it would not let you run the file anymore. So it was an interesting method to get around the whole, verification and people abusing the file right and things like that. But it was kind of a kludgy method of getting around the whole downloading a file thing. But there's an example of kind of using software licensing on a 3D file. But generally, I'm talking software here because, I mean, effectively when you download a file, you have the file, unless it's something like that, but that was more or less its own little closed ecosystem. All you downloaded was the code file that it spat out that was time-stamped and could only be used within a certain date period, yada, yada, yada.
When we're getting back to software, when I purchased the CyberLink Power Director 14, which is what I used to edit all my video, they have, of course, you go online and it's, oh yeah, download it here for free, download it here for free. No matter what you download that way, it would not verify to the point where I could actually use it. So of course you go onto, I believe it was Amazon, or I think in the end I finally went directly through their website, bought the program directly from them, download all the same files. It was all the same files that they already had online. The other people were like, oh, here it is for free. But the catch was I had the verification code. And because it had the verification code, of course, it went through. But it also is limited to, I think it's 3 computers. So if you try doing it with a 4th computer, when it reaches those servers, it says, oh, wait a minute, and it won't work.
So Mr. Carroll Science and a couple of other people have made some good points in chat. He was saying, I think purchasing paid software should be verified like an access key for Microsoft Office. But once you own the file, you own it. I buy a car, it's mine to do what I wish. And that is true. I feel like, one thing that over at the college that my dad used to teach at, they would use Avid editing software, and each of the machines had a little USB dongle that you could take to any machine, but that dongle only lets you run the student version that was licensed for that school. And I don't know if the machines were internet connected because this was like about 10 years ago or something. But the idea was that little dongle was effectively your license key, and you theoretically kept that with you. You could always sell it off to somebody else, but effectively the license key was yours to use on any machine. So when you plug that into the machine, it read that dongle and said, okay, this product is licensed to Calvin Witt, and he's allowed to do yada, 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 on this machine within our terms of service. And if he doesn't, then we could probably brick that dongle code. But the point was, I'm surprised companies aren't doing like what Mr. Carroll Science said with like a one-time code and server verification, like with your Power Director, or just, a dongle that you plug in that gives you, or an RFID chip that has a one-time, never to be used again. If this is duplicated, it breaks the system code. But I'm no software engineer, so I'm just kind of, spouting my thoughts on it. But the point is, why aren't they doing things like that versus always requiring a server connection, which, as we've seen, when there's been massive DDoS attacks or things like that, or just, you don't have an internet connection, or if you're like me and the internet, on your cell phone's like, woo, and your home internet's crap, but it works. What do? Are you screwed?
Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever the company goes belly up or something, or like you said, DDoS attack or something like that, it's, yeah, pretty much. If it depends on an internet connection to contact their server, you're at the will of it.
For sure. Now, Chris is saying that you never buy commercial software. You do not own it like a car. You essentially lease it. You purchase a license to use it under their terms. That is a good point. So when I say buying the software, I mean, and like I said, if you go out, like with the dongle, if you go outside the terms of service, they could theoretically brick it. But the point is, what I'm talking about is when you have that dongle, or you have that code, or you have that verification key, effectively within the terms of service, it's allowing you to use it on that machine without constantly going, like this, you know, to whatever server, or maybe it does want to see, you know, a connection, but it gives you a certain number of allowable times that it will go, okay, I trust you, you know what you're doing, and goes from there. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's no perfect solution, but I kind of feel like the current solution is kind of screwy, especially if the company goes down, the internet goes down, or just something goes wrong. You could be screwed for a long time. You know, it could be bad. But, you know, it's when I say it's a tricky topic, because at the end of the day, there is no perfect solution that does not ultimately potentially screw somebody over.
Right. I mean, in the end, a company's got to try to secure their way of making money, you know, and make sure that their product isn't just being given out, you know, through, like I said, through torrents and stuff like that. There's got to be a way of a check and balance that way in order to make sure that they're not losing money. So I completely understand their process of doing that. But like we were kind of talking the other day about it, when a company knows that they're going to go under, it'd be best if they would do something as far as either making sure that they have some kind of a server they can take care of it, or push an update to where it doesn't require the server. Who knows?
Yeah, and obviously, like Chris just said, with licensing software, if the company goes under, you have no reasonable expectation that the company will continue to license you the software. And that is true. But at the same time, there's some softwares that, you know, it's not that it's a legal obligation by any means. It's more of a moral obligation. And let's just face it, there are some old softwares that just plain work. You know, I mean, I used to edit all of my footage in Pinnacle Studio 15 that my dad had bought a copy of a long time ago. When I say a copy of an actual disc with the code and stuff, but it worked, you know. Or there's lots of old design programs, or in the case of old 3D printers like the Thingomatic, if it wasn't for Simplify 3D and other softwares being able to emulate the old Replicator G that it used, let's say Replicator G, which does not, let's just say it needed a licensing and all that stuff, you would have been stuck. You would have had no way to do it. You know, it's one of those things where it's more or less, it's kind of like if you've, you know, shelled out thousands of dollars to lease some software, and then the company goes down 6 months into your 3-year lease, what are you going to do? You know, it's tricky.
Chris has got a really good point. If a company goes bankrupt, they cannot legally open up the software license. And that's correct, because it is considered part of the company. So it then goes to the creditors for the creditors to decide what happens to that program. I'm talking about if a company is just going to say, I'm not talking going bankrupt. I mean, just close up. But yeah, in a case of bankruptcy, yeah, that's completely right. It belongs to the courts and to the creditors.
Right. And obviously, like I said, there is no legal standing to what I'm saying. It's more or less, it's like, it's a moral obligation. And I'm not going to diss companies if they do or don't do something, but it's, you know,
I'll know that in the end it ends up getting bought up by Google.
Or some other tech startup that goes down and gets bought up by another big one, and eventually it all becomes Google. But no, I mean, yeah, it's the whole thing, like we just showed, just becomes this tangled web of money and licensing and contracts and legal obligations. And there is no easy solution to all of this. That's the short answer, which is sad, but that's just the way it is. You know, what else are you going to do?
True.
You know, more or less, we're not going to be like what we talked about on the stream the other week, where we're a certain software open source thingy that just decided it was totally chill to just go out there and start smashing people on Twitter. We're not like that. That's not our style. But at the same time, we kind of feel like this is a good way for us to air our opinions and also, you know, get educated in the process as well as you guys. So, you know, that's the main reason why we do this. But I do feel, though, like if you're a small company and you know that you're going to go down, as in you're going to close that division or close up the company, at least offer something to people. you know, so
Chris
whatever.
says, but you guys didn't expect to have a bunch of software engineers in the chat when you picked the topic. I did, but I don't think Calvin did.
No, I knew that we were probably going to get schooled on it, but that's the thing that I like is I'm sharing my opinions from more of a person who's, you know, more or less like, it'd be nice, but at the same time, I understand they have no obligation to do so, or legally.
He's talking from the perspective of somebody who downloaded it free online from a BitTorrent.
Oh, heck no.
Who's going on there and using let me Google this to find out where he can get that fake key. What was that, the key generator they used to have for the porn sites? What was that one? It's like, I forget the name of it. It used to be sound like it was from like Mexico or something, like some town in Mexico. I forget what the name of that one was. It never worked, but everybody tried it anyway.
No, that's the thing I always find, you know, sadly comical is, you know, everybody's all like, I can just go and download this for free on some torrent website, and I can go to some other sketchy website, and you know, I can get a key to do whatever, and it doesn't work, and then everybody else gets screwed because, you know, then there's tighter restrictions on it, and it just becomes, you know, it's a downward spiral, no matter how you put it. It's just the sad reality of today. What are you going to do?
So did you see earlier in the chat how much Rick was paying for one of the programs?
Oh, yeah. That's normal. Even if you're a student to get, this is the reason why Fusion 360
$45,000 on Autodesk perpetual licensing. Rental licensing is $30,000. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not Fusion 360 either. He does the real-time stuff.
Yeah. The reason why Fusion 360 is so darn popular, and also I think it's kind of scared SolidWorks a little bit, is the fact that SolidWorks, even if you're a student, to get the student license for a year or some, like I think it was like a year, was about $1,000 for a student license, and at the end of that year, it cut off. Fusion 360, they don't give a crap. Oh, you want to make stuff? Do it. You know,
well, they have a limit. I think it's if you make $100,000 off of their software, you need to pay for the license.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're using a student license of software, generally the rules are non-commercial use. So the fact that Autodesk is actually okay with you using the software to make money up to a certain point, and we're talking, you know, a good chunk of money, you know, is really, really, really generous. But I think they're really trying to give SolidWorks a run for their money with that, because for the longest time, it was just SolidWorks that was doing that and other plugins. But, you know, now that Fusion's in the market, I think SolidWorks is going, oh, crap, we're not the only people out there anymore. You know, that's just my opinion. But I do have to say, though, Fusion, in my experience, once you learn it, it does good stuff. You know,
Fusion 360 is a gateway drug. That's the best one yet.
It really is, though. But when you think about it, I mean, I'm not knocking on Tinkercad. I'm not knocking on.
Let's see, Fusion 360. If that would be what equivalent to weed or something. If it's the gateway drug, what would Tinkercad be?
I think Tinkercad's rating your mom's
candy cigarettes.
I think that's rating your mom's pill cabinet for whatever you can concoct up to try and feel remotely. Ooh, I feel better.
Next time we go to other meetups, they're going to kill us.
Just a maker for it. They'll like disown us or something.
I sure hope we get to go up there again to that the Autodesk gallery. That place was stinking awesome.
We got to pester Matter Hackers to do another event there. That was sick.
I see we got Jeff in the chat. How you doing, Jeff?
Got everybody in the chat right now.
Did you ever shout out everybody in the chat?
No, because
this is the difference between me and Calvin. I like to interact with the chat. Calvin's like, it's all about what I got to say. Okay, yeah, let's talk about the TK here for a moment.
Sorry, I'm pulling the I'm sick card tonight so I could be extra grouchy.
Oh man.
So the answer to your question is Mr. Carroll Science is Pepto-Bismol equals Tinkercad.
Oh man.
So Rick did say Autodesk is undergoing fiscal restructuring. Don't be surprised if they stop the free side of Fusion 360. I've been saying that for a while, but yeah, that is something to keep in mind though, is not everything free lasts forever, but even if I had to pay a little bit.
They way down deep, they know their software is being used for projects that there's more than $100,000 being earned. And it's the people who don't stay honest is what hurts the rest of us. The rest of us that use it, well, I say rest of us as if I use it. I've never been able to do anything on it. I'm strictly a Tinkercad person because I have not reached that pinnacle of being able to use Fusion 360.
Well, I mean,
it's the ones who professionally use it and don't do the things the right way that hurt everybody else who just plays with it.
Well, I mean, when Tinkercad can design up little grills like that, come talk to me.
So, have you tried printing that on that Moai yet?
No, I have not because I'm waiting on more resin to come in.
Man,
I know, but I will eventually. It is on my to-do list because hypothetically it is possible, and if it can pull that off, mind blown. I'm really not sure if it will though, so we'll see.
I bet it will.
I think it will.
I think you just have to do the settings correctly. I think it'll do it.
I think it'll do it too. I mean, I've pulled off some tiny stuff that I'm like, well, that's cool. But sadly, I ran out of resin, but I've got more coming on the way, so I'm stoked about that.
Pretty bad whenever resin's being treated like drugs. I got the good stuff for you, man.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting on my liter plus of the good stuff to come on in. So
Rick is saying Fusion sucks for his job. That's kind of what I figured because his level of design he's a draftsman. I mean, that's straight up. He's a draftsman. It's totally different.
Yeah, you got to remember when I'm designing up bottle openers or train shells or grills, they're not very complex models. Yes, they might be complex, but they're not like a whole ship with literally thousands upon thousands of components. And then you got to run checks for the piping. Don't get me wrong. Fusion is nice, but every software has its limitations. And I'll be the very first to tell you that. Certain machine shops can thrive off Fusion, and some of them need like the 5-axis SolidWorks plugin for their multi-axis machine because they need something that is specially designed for their machine that works with software to check collisions and tools, and you're putting all these inputs, and it gets crazy. But yeah, that's a good point.
How you feeling, man?
Doing okay. I'll probably up for like another 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll probably say later, and then crawl off to bed, take more Benadryl, and go to bed.
Go pop your pills.
Oh, it just sounds so bad saying that. I almost brought them out on camera, and I'm like, no.
It's going to be so demonetized.
Hey, this stream isn't monetized anyway, so,
That's right. I forget about that. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and just up the ante a little bit, shall we?
Sneaks off to the closet and grabs the box.
Want me to pull a Barnacules here? And
No. No, I don't want to get disowned by my YouTube family.
Do the little Madonna thing going on,
Oh, heck no. How much regular Coke did you drink today, Jimmy?
Actually, I have not drank very much Coke today at all. This is actually the second Coke I've had today.
This guy, I swear, we're driving to Vegas. He literally has a cooler full of Diet Cokes and like every hour. Hey, Beth, honey, can you have me another Coke? Oh, it's
I just stay awake somehow.
Hour later, is Beth asleep? Yeah. Can you give me a Coke? Sure. Oh, it's
I
good stuff
can't
right
have
there.
the good leaded stuff no more. I used to drink Mountain Dew, or you remember back when they had the Mountain Dew Live Wire? It was the
I
orange
never
one.
I never tried it, but I know they used to also have that vault stuff because I remember the commercial with like the squirrel that's like doing karate on everybody in a paintball tournament.
What's this? Do you take the holder out with you, Jimmy? Oh, this one here? No, it just stays right here. I always try to drink out of it, and just in case Daniel should join, he'll feel part of the chat.
I eventually will print one up for myself. I've just not had the time yet, but I will give it my sweet, weathering and finishing effect because that's what I do.
Did you notice I put some extra stuff out here? Beth was cleaning off a shelf inside the house, and she's like, "Hey, you want to take these over and put them on your shelf?"
Oh, burn!
I'm like, "But Beth, I thought you liked this stuff."
She's like, honey, I want new stuff because you have a 3D printer and you can make new stuff.
That's the Maker's Muse torture deal. I still can't believe that the Prusa 3 did that one. That first printer I had, the aluminum one. I have to retry. You know what? I have to do that on the TiVo.
Seriously, you should do that on the TiVo. I think I have the one that I did on the Thingomatic. That, mind you, it doesn't look the best, but the Thingomatic has no active cooling, and I had to scale it to fit the build volume. And Angus was like tripping out that the Thingomatic pulled this off as decently as it did.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, considering it's scaled down, I think about 3/4, and it had no active cooling. All things considered, yeah, it's a little bit messy, but seriously, considering how old that machine is, I thought the thing was going to fail. Like when it got to here, it was going to go, oh, nope, and just, pile of crap. But that machine still blows my mind some days.
Man. So guys, I got to get your opinion on this. So I changed companies. I originally started with Teespring. I ordered one of those shirts, and it was the premium shirt, and I did not like the way it fit or anything. So after Daniel Norey sent me a shirt from TeePublic, I went ahead and I switched over to TeePublic, put my design on there. Well, I think I messed up. I think I got it way too big. So like my question to you is, should this design be smaller? Because I personally think it should be like where this part is should be down like that. I don't think it should be this big. I want to get your guys' opinion on it.
Personally, we discussed this a little bit before the stream, and I have more time to think about it. But I think if it was just the megaphone, the size works. Yeah. But with the text, I agree it should be a little bit smaller because, especially like I was saying, if you're wearing a jacket and you have it unzipped, it's going to crop off a good like half of your name, and it's going to be like, can't really tell.
Eddie's saying it should be smaller. I agree. I'm thinking, between, you know what I'm talking about.
You suck. I mean, it's not like your bottle opener.
I would do what I did earlier, except Calvin got all red and almost ran out of the room crying.
No, it's not like your bottle opener where I intentionally make the logo as big as I reasonably can to fit the space. That's a different story, though.
Rick says it needs to be bigger.
So the thing like wraps around his shirt, but that's not readable, though.
Okay, Jeff says, I think the size of the logo is about 10% too big. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking this part here should be down about like that.
Sounds like a plan.
Kind of shrink it up a little bit. No fear of demonetization. Say what you feel, Jimmy. Well, it wasn't what I was going to say. It was what I was going to do. I was going to be back here going like...
Next week's stream, Jimmy's going to be like chilling there doing a full-on Barnacles, like shirt off, PJ bottoms on. Oh, like, what's that?
Take the camera and have it right in the middle of the bathroom, This stream today is brought from you on the porcelain throne.
On this episode of Poop Nap live streaming, watch me fall asleep and fall on the floor. Oh gosh, this is like going to crap. Everybody's having way too much fun. Probably because I'm extra crabby because I'm sick, and they're probably having like way too much fun poking me in the eyeball. Don't worry, I will get payback at some point. Don't worry.
TK says next week's stream, Jimmy prints some nipple spinners. And get that movement going, you know. Just
Oh gosh, no. I suck. Wow,
yeah,
just
next stream, if I did that, there would have to be a picture of Calvin right here because he would not come on the stream. You'd be like, no.
Jimmy prints like a large coin of me and just like sticks my face on it and goes, nope.
The rebirth of the fidget spinner.
Thank you, Rick, for saving my life on this one. So he's like, what's the verdict on online license checking?
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
What is the verdict on that?
Sidetracked.
What is your verdict on it, Calvin?
I guess my verdict on it is, while I feel like it definitely has its place, and don't get me wrong, I totally understand that there needs to be some form of active license checking to make sure that there's not like 100 machines running the exact same license code and they're going, oh, I wonder why the heck that is. I do feel, though, like there needs to be an intermediary option. So just in case the servers go down, or just in case you do not always have an internet connection, or your internet connection is pretty spotty, you're not screwed with effectively a temporarily bricked machine. You know, I can understand exactly why they do that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not a necessary evil. I just feel like there needs to be some other options in there to help people out. You know, maybe have it so once every month the thing has to check in, or because it's on a machine that has been pre-verified, you know, it'll grant you a certain number of, you know, licenses if you don't have a connection, and then when you jump back on, it resets, and if it's not right, it, you know, locks you out. Something like that. You know, there's no ultimately perfect solution, but the fact that, you know, if I've had Simplify 3D load on my laptop for, hypothetically speaking, over a year now, and it needs me to log into the internet every single time I go to use it, that's a little bit frustrating to me personally. That's a little bit ridiculous, you know.
Ray, for my part, my thought on it?
Yeah, sure. Fire away.
I personally believe that if a machine is using a proprietary software, that it's the end user who's taking the chance on it. If a machine can use more than one program, so let's say that they have a proprietary software. Let's take, for example, the Prusa Mark II, Mark III, whatever. Okay, now from what I understand, he has his own slicer, correct?
He uses his own version of Slice 3R or Slicker or whatever how people call it.
But you can still slice with Cura on that same machine, correct?
Cura, Simplify 3D, Craftware, it doesn't really matter.
I believe whenever you have, it's up to the end user to determine whether or not they want to be locked into XYZ ware, if they want to be locked into this one or that one, whenever they purchase the machine. And that's one thing that as reviewers, I really hope that they kind of keep people, you know, or keep everybody apprised of whether or not something is strictly one type of a program. There needs to be options. And if it's up to the end user to determine whether or not that machine is going to be the one they want to stick with. And unfortunately, that decision that they make is what's going to take and determine later on in life if that machine is still going to work, or if something's going to go haywire with that company and their machine is not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's no one size fits all solution. There's no perfect magic bullet. It's frustrating, and that's the thing that's hard is, you know, at the end of the day, all we're saying is just hypothetical. Would be nice if, but we also know the reality is not that way.
Rick, I gotta buy this man lunch.
They'll need to hang out sometime in the store.
Yeah. Hey, are we going to have any kind of a meetup before Maker Faire?
I don't know, because my probable mystery assistant camera person who's appeared in previous episodes of the show before is flying in on Friday morning. I'm really not sure what our schedule is going to be, but it'd be cool if we had the opportunity to do a pre-show meetup. And I think honestly, both of us are going to be so running around, because I'm going to be pretty much done with finals at that point. I'm going to be pretty much running around, grabbing camera equipment, grabbing food for the event, grabbing, B-roll footage of anything that we're going to need, pretty much getting everything ready. So Saturday morning, we can roll out of bed, grab our backpacks, and crawl down the hill to the corner market, get some food, and then crawl our way to BART and get to the bus to the event. So I really don't know, though.
Did Calvin say he has a mistress?
I just said that I have somebody who's appeared on the show previously who's going to be hopefully helping me out at the event. Just saying, might even go on camera.
Sounds like a mistress to me.
He's not. Current relationship status single.
Calvin's getting ready to say, "Shut up, Jimmy, shut up."
Oh, I don't know what happened to Jimmy.
I'm not talking about meeting up, as far as like that, a day or two before that. I'm talking like maybe a couple weeks before that, so we can invite Rick and different ones in the area if they want to meet up, and just have just meet somewhere and have like a lunch or something on a Saturday or something.
Nana's is way too far away for all of us.
No, I think we need to have it up towards San Jose or someplace up that way.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe meet it like, I don't know. Jimmy knows all the good eatery spots. Chick-fil-A, Denny's, Black Bear.
Chick-fil-A's the place right there, man.
Dude, the thing that sucks for me living in San Francisco versus going down to my parents' houses, they have a Chick-fil-A like less than 10 minutes from my house. Hey, JT, thanks for stopping on. But literally, there's like a Chick-fil-A less than 10 minutes drive from my parents' house. If I want to go to Chick-fil-A out here, like the closest one that I know of is down in stinking San Jose. Ugh.
At least they have two of them.
I know there's one down by the fairgrounds because I drive by it on my way to when we're going to have our next train show.
The other one's over on First Street.
Yeah, I've been to that one many a time when I was going to the Mountain View train station to go. Like late at night, I'd leave work a little bit early, swing by there and get some food and just like eat it on the train. It was great.
Before they built those, the closest one that we had was on Fairfield. And so once a year, I'd grab Beth and we'd go up to Fairfield and go and Chick-fil-A.
Did you also swing by the Jelly Belly factory while you were at it just because?
We would.
I've been,
then whenever we go to Colorado and Grand Junction, there's a Chick-fil-A there. So every time we go to Grand Junction, first place I'd stop on the way in is go straight to Chick-fil-A.
Amy knows what's up.
Oh yeah. Whenever I was little, we used to have a Chick-fil-A here in our mall. And later on, as time went on, I found out that the reason why they left the mall was because they were getting fined every Sunday for not opening, because Chick-fil-A will not open on Sunday. That's been from the beginning of time with them. They will not open on Sunday. And so it turned out the mall was actually fining them every Sunday for not opening. And so that's the reason why they pulled out of the mall at the time, I guess.
That is stupid.
Rick has a Chick-fil-A and a Black Bear 500 yards from. Okay, Rick, we need to. We'll get together later on and talk off stream. I need to find out where you're at, because it sounds like that's where we need to meet.
It's somewhere around awesome stuff. I'll put it that way.
I think he's close to Oakland.
What?
I think Rick's close to Oakland.
No.
No?
No.
No?
No. I'm not going to say the exact location on stream, but no, it's not near Oakland.
Really?
Really?
North or south?
Not going to say on stream.
You hater.
You you're welcome. Just, protecting people's privacy. That's all. Just hate on me for it. I don't want to potentially give.
Thanks for joining, Chris.
Have a good one, Chris. I don't want to potentially give somebody's location away if they're not okay with it. So, just saying.
So you know more than I do.
Yeah, I know more than I do because I did some test prints for him. It was awesome on the Moai.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
he's between the two. Sweet.
Yeah, I did some. In short, somebody at a train club that he belongs to wanted to make up a bunch of truck underframes in 187 scale or HO, and he was going to try printing some. I tried printing one. Honestly, I think if you were to do something like that, Rick, you're better off stacking the frames how you'd want them, just printing them all as one set and just sticking them on the rail car that way. But that's just me. But that was a fun early on project with the Moai because it was kind of like, hey, even if it's just a demo part, it's still cool that I was using it for stuff back when I had resin.
So did I tell you what's happening tomorrow?
Nope.
I got a call back, and I'm interviewing for that automotive job tomorrow.
Ooh, snap! Dude, that is awesome. I really,
this time with the district manager, so it's the real deal. This is the one that determines whether I get it or not. So, wish me luck.
Yeah, I mean, in short, let's just say that Jimmy's trying to go from a job that pays peanuts to a job that actually pays like in truckloads of peanuts.
Yes. Maybe even cases of peanuts.
But let's just say Jimmy deserves it.
I don't know if I deserve it, but
as I said in the Good Times intro, moving on that.
Yeah, it's time. I mean, it's with the passing of my mom and Tom getting the job that he got and everything. It's kind of come to that point where I got to do something different. I'm getting too old to do the stuff I'm doing.
Let's just say, for those who don't know, half of what Jimmy does for a living is commercial sandblasting. And for the little bit of sandblasting that I did on camera in that video a long time ago, that was hard work. I mean, that nozzle pushes back hard. I weigh all of about 135 pounds on a good day. And I was like leaning into the thing going, I hope I don't get blown back by this. But I mean, I seriously cannot imagine doing that day in and day out, like contorting yourself to go around like piping and things like that. It's a very, very labor intensive task. I mean, it's not for the faint at heart. So
that's not only that, but you stand a risk of getting injured pretty good every single time you use it. I mean, I've never really, as far as the sand hitting me, I've gotten blood blisters on my hand before from going over my hand, but I've never really tore myself open. But I've seen people actually get tore open. In fact, my mom, one time, she was helping my dad, and he didn't know that she was behind him, and he turned around and he went, and she ended up having to go to the doctor because it just tore her right open. But yeah, that's nothing to play with.
It's let's just put it this way. That sandblaster thing, that's not your Harbor Freight special. That thing can seriously kill somebody in a matter of in very short order if you're not super careful. I mean, I literally had nightmares like the night before about like that hose whipping around, and like that would be the last that was ever filmed of us. And
that's not that bad.
Or something that would have been hilarious to actually stage.
No, that was in case anybody doesn't know it. The setup I have a Sullivan 210 CFM, which means cubic feet per minute air compressor. Runs at 125 psi. That's pressure pounds per square inch. The sand pot's a 600-pound sand pot, and I actually use sand. I don't use blast media as everybody calls it. We actually do use sand. The hose is 1.25 inches outside diameter, 3/4 inside diameter, goes to a nozzle that's approximately that long. It's got a polyurethane jacket, brass threads with a tungsten carbide center with a 5/16 orifice. So this thing takes all of that and narrows it down to the size of a pencil. So it comes out with some force.
Big time force. I mean, this thing is just like, it's scary, especially when you're literally seeing like rust and mill scale just like going whee, flying off the part, and then you're left with like that really nice textured metal surface, and you're like, wow, that is impressive. I mean, considering that if anybody's had to wire brush even with a like an angle grinder or something, rust off steel, it's hard work. This thing just makes it go done.
Definitely makes life a lot easier that way.
So everybody in chat has been talking Maker Faire. Mr. Carroll of Science said that he's about 3 hours from Phoenix, but he's saying they need a Maker Faire in Phoenix called Rising from the Ashes. I like that idea, dude. You seriously got to pitch that, even if it's a mini Maker Faire.
Yes.
Speaking of which, I'm hoping to make it out to that mini Maker Faire out in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
That will seriously be awesome. Do you know what the parking is like out there, though?
It's going to be at Cabrillo College, so there should be plenty of parking.
Okay, cool. I just didn't want to, get soaked like 40 or 50 bucks like it is out here at Maker Faire.
Yeah, I don't think in fact, I don't even think they charge to go into that particular one. I think it's more like the Rockland Mini Fair was. I think it's going to be a free one if I remember right. They had one last year, but it was not at the college. It was at some like a middle school or something over in Santa Cruz last year. And I didn't find out about it until the day of it. So there was no way I can make it to it. But this year I'm wanting to go to that one. You can kind of check it out and everything. But yeah, I'd like to go there. And I also talked to the Heather and Travis. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it or not. It'd be cool if all of us could kind of pop in there and check it out.
It'd be cool. I mean, honestly, I don't know. This is one thing that this is a theory, and I will have to see if it'll work or not. I might have to have somebody like my dad. I'll give him the information to log into Hangout so he can get, the stream started and then kind of play like switcher director guy for us. But I'm genuinely curious if it's possible at Maker Faire to have it set up so you, me, and third person who's going to be helping me, and potentially maybe other people who we know, like Chris or, Jeff or other people who are there who want to, chime in. We almost make it like a live news reporting thing at Maker Faire where it's kind of like I'm at my favorite booth and do my spiel about my thing. Maybe I run to another booth that I like. Then we kind of like go around the circle of like, our highlights at that point throughout the day. So each person's at their favorite thing at Maker Faire. And then they kind of talk about it, and then we jump to the next person. We jump to the next person. But I really don't know how easy or hard that would be to pull off, especially with knowing who's on air, who's not, audio, cell reception, things like that. So it's more of a theory that'd be cool, but I really don't know if it's going to be logistically possible or not.
Yeah. Well, this year for Maker Faire, I definitely want to. I'm wanting to take and go around and actually do more video of the booths. Maybe visit with more of the different creators and different ones there. And I'm not just talking YouTube creators. I'm talking about the ones that actually have the booths where they're actually making stuff. I wanted to talk with them. I'd really like to go check out where they're doing the glass blowing and stuff like that. The metal work out in the back part.
I always love the setup that every year the Crucible has out there, because that's the kind of stuff that I feel like is the heart and soul of the Maker Faire. Is people making stuff, especially considering that they probably have to go through so many hoops and loops with the fire department to have, literally, we're talking like giant canisters of propane out there. And they've got like at least 25, if not 50 of them all hooked up to various things. They're doing ceramics for kids. They're doing live blacksmithing demos. It is seriously crazy stuff. It is awesome. I'm
definitely not wasting my time trying to watch those giant robots.
Oh, gosh. I still love what Jeff.
Come on.
Back before I really knew Jeff, he's out there with his phone on his little selfie stick. He's all like, oh my gosh, this is like the stupidest thing ever. Just hurry up and hit the stupid Prius already. And me and Jimmy are like, bye-bye. And then the best part is that had to be like out in the roastingly hot sun. I'm just like, nope, not even. No, honestly though, things not worth going to see at the Maker Faire are drone racing. It sucks. The giant
I
robot.
didn't get to see that last year. I wanted to see that too.
The drone racing.
See, this year I'm planning on going there for 2 days. I'm planning to go there for Saturday and Sunday.
Good idea.
So we'll have to see how everything pans out, but that's what the plan is at the moment.
Well, generally speaking, on Sunday, Adam Savage comes out on some weird creation thing and talks to a crowd of like screaming kids, and then which is kind of cool. But usually, it's worth watching it after the fact, because reality is when you go there and watch it, you're like 100 yards away from the stage.
Did you hear that Grant Imahara came by at one point?
Yeah, because I was standing like 5 feet away from him, and he was over and talks to Dave, and I think me and Curtis and Jeff were all staying there, just like.
Really?
I'd
like to meet him.
If you want to go and see him over at some booth thing, but there was some other event I was going to go to, which was like, it was a bummer, but at the same time, it was kind of like, it's probably going to be such a zoo with people over there anyways.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I think this year's going to be fun. I'm definitely not going to be just standing over against a wall like I did last year. I definitely would like to sit down and talk with Joel for a little bit, especially now that he's quit his job and he's full-time YouTube creator. I'd like to definitely sit down with him for a little chat and just kind of chew the fat with him on camera for a little bit. And I think Angus is making it. I'd like to sit down with Angus if he doesn't mind.
It's actually some people said he wasn't going to be traveling internationally this year, and some people said he was. I really don't know.
I thought he was bringing Lady Muse with him.
I've been so busy, I haven't been able to keep up on really much of anything.
I'm really hoping Jerry comes this year, because if Jerry comes, I'd like to sit down with him too. But
this is going to end real bad.
We're just gonna sit around across from each other, just doing like this the whole time, and
and then you guys are gonna like strip your shirts off and be all like, you're gonna make Beth pack your PJ bottom so you can pretend to be. Oh gosh, seriously, this would actually be hilarious to do.
Oh God, no.
Slippers and PJ bottoms and dressed like Jerry and walked around and saw how many people thought you were Jerry from behind.
Oh God, no. First off, there's no way. They'd see the red hair and that'd be the end of that.
Brandon's like, no, Jimmy, no, stop. Just stop.
Stop it. I like the stop. STAP. Stop.
But yeah, when it comes to the Maker Faire, honestly, it's really until people are like landing at the airport, I don't count them as being at Maker Faire, because obviously things can come up at the last minute that cause them to not be there. But last year was
honestly pleasantly surprised last year at the turnout when it comes to YouTube creators. I did not expect half the people that showed up to show up.
No, especially considering that Angus was last minute. Like he said, if it wasn't for everybody literally just like throwing money at him, going, either you can use this, towards Bay Area or New York, or just a donation in general. I'd love it if you could make it out there. So here's some money. Then Garrett from Chaos Cortec was able to make it out there. 3D Maker Noob and his wife made it out there. Angus made it out there. The number of people that normally would not come out to an event like that was just seriously mind-blowing. Getting to meet everybody was like, not like, oh, cool, I met Chris and I met Jeff, which are relatively local when you think about it. Even when you compare it to people like 3D Maker Noob or Angus coming all the way from Australia and Malta, that makes Garrett seem kind of like, driving like 2 hours to go visit you in comparison. And like I've always said, I am no more than about a 45-minute trip via public transit away from Maker Faire. So I have it super easy. I pretty much just roll out of bed, hop BART to the Millbury, and just hop a bus down there and be like, where's my press pass? Oh, I got to walk Timbuktu to get it? Great.
Yeah, and I'm like, what, an hour and a half from it, if that?
Yeah. Which, all things considered, considering Jeff did the marathon drive that we did to go out there for one day is just like,
I know. I couldn't believe you did that.
that was cool though. That was definitely cool. Because then, I mean, honestly, it's like if we hadn't met Jeff out there, I don't think we would have had the crazy Vegas trip that we did. It's things like that which really make you stop and go, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. It was definitely something I really wish it'd be like that again this year, but I know way down deep there's not going to be the turnout as far as YouTube creators that there was last year. That was just an amazing thing that happened last year, and I really wish it could be like that again, but I know way down deep it won't be.
No, that was definitely back when the YouTube takings were really good and everybody was jumping in there, and now that things have dried up again, it's definitely kind of gone and shrunk things down. But that's just the way it goes. It's feast or famine. That's just the reality, to be perfectly honest.
I am glad that a lot of them are going to turn out at Murph this year. That's really awesome. But yeah, as far as everybody coming out here to the West Coast, I don't see it.
And let's face it, flights are not that expensive to get out here. You have multiple airports. You have Oakland, you have San Francisco, you have San Jose even. So depending upon, where you fly into, some of them might be really, really cheap, and it's actually cheaper to fly into, say, San Jose and just get a rental car. But then lodging is really expensive around here, especially when, Maker Faire is going on, because hotels sell out of rooms like crazy, or, Airbnbs run out, or just, in general. I mean, the event is huge. It's big when they literally have school buses full of people picking people up at, different colleges in the area, using their parking lots to get people over there. And they're like, don't park here if you can. There's like hundreds of people on foot, and Caltrain's packed. And, it is seriously, the amount of people every year just blows my mind. I'm like, no, it's not going to be, there's a lot of people, never mind.
Well, my friend, you made it.
I made it
for an hour.
I should probably go to bed soon. I am wiping out.
I agree with you. I gotta get up in the morning, try to get some tax work done for the business, and then probably take an early lunch, and then make sure I'm up there in time for my interview at 1.
Nice.
See how it works out. I'm telling everybody, I'm not holding my breath. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at the same time, it'd be cool if it did, because I'd be getting off like at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Well, not for the first month. First month is going to be torture, because I'm probably going to be there by every waking moment to get things cleaned up and fixed up. But after about a month, I think it'll be to the point where I know that that part of it closes up like at 5 o'clock. So we could definitely have earlier streams if we want to do an earlier stream. And I think it'll be a good thing. I actually have more time to do videos because I'll only have one job to worry about.
I was just going to say, you could honestly then dedicate your time more to cranking out content, which is, that's the thing that makes doing, and the one thing I'll say in closing, making the decision to go full-time on YouTube very difficult, is the fact that to make more money and get more viewership, you got to crank out more videos. But in doing that, you're taking time away from your day job, and it's this really tricky, balance you got to find. So but I do feel that, like, if you did have a more stable setup where you knew I was making X, I was making X amount a month, and I know I got this much free time to work on stuff, it gives you more freedom to just work on projects in general, and not be like, am I going to make enough in ad revenue to cover the cost of this project? You don't have that stress in the back of your head. So,
well, that's one thing I don't have to worry about, because I know I don't make enough ad revenue to take care of anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm just,
for the last, like with you, you're demonetized, but for me, for the last 2 months, there's the ad revenue just dried up. I mean, YouTube has really dried up the ad revenue for everybody. And I know it's got to be hurting the creators that are using it as their primary job. it's got to hurt them to a certain extent. I'm sure it's not to the extent that I've seen, but I'm sure it's hurt them.
Oh, I would not be surprised. Even, but like I've always said, and everybody says though, don't rely just on the ad revenue as your sole or main source of income because it is so up and down.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because man, I mean, there's no way I would ever be able to. There's just no way.
I mean, honestly, not unless something happened where my channel blew up overnight and I was given like a workspace with all the equipment I ever needed. There's no way at this point that I could even remotely dream of doing this as a sole source of income. I mean, I'm not, when I say I've probably spent more money on projects than I will ever make back in ad revenue at this point, I don't say that to sound defeatist or like, oh, well, I'm just not going to do anything. The reality is a lot of the projects I do on camera are things that are interesting to me anyways, and filming it is an excuse to go out there and show what I love doing. But at the same time, when you are burning your own money to make the content, it is a little bit frustrating, but that is why I take on side machining jobs off camera or try and make merch that I'm selling or things like that. So,
yeah. Well, it's like with me, my whole thing was to get the one printer, and that's what I started out with, and that's what I made the videos with. And I never dreamed in a million years I'd get a second printer. And then the next thing you know, I'm buying a second printer. Then next thing you know, here comes another printer. I think here comes another printer.
I mean, before you know it, Jimmy has 10 printers boxed up off camera that he hasn't used yet.
I've got to get this one opened up. I've got to get that one going. But I got to get through this tax part. I got to get it taken care of. Once I know taxes are done, then I'll be freed up where I feel like I can do it. And plus, there's some rainy weather coming. In fact, they expect to rain Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So who knows? There might be a rainy day stream coming up soon.
Honestly, that would be cool because it's a little, I personally loved back before we were doing our show, or right around that time, is when you were doing the Printerbot Smalls build series. That was cool. Yeah. I mean, I know for some people they might have been like, "Why do I want to watch a guy building a printer on camera?" That's kind of boring. But at the same time, it was fun to watch you building the thing, especially when it got near the end when you're trying to get it going and you got it going, then you had problems and you got it working again, and the thing was working, and just like seeing your genuine excitement. It was genuine. It was awesome, and that's what made it enjoyable. Sure, watching the other stuff might not have been the most exciting, but when you get to that point, that's when it's like, this is what it's all about.
Yes. In fact, I was going to do it tonight, but I'm going to wait and do it probably tomorrow night. But I got to get my D200 running, and then once I get that printer running again, then I think that's very possible. We'll see. Let's see how things pan out. If I can get my taxes for the business done tomorrow, I might be planning on doing that on Thursday. I might either Thursday or Friday if it's actually raining.
I won't be able, if you do, the only catch is if you do stream it on Thursday, I won't be able to watch it because I'm pretty much gone all day with school. But if you do it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Well, Saturday I've got plans. Well, I have to see how tomorrow goes because I don't know what the time frame is, if they say yes, if, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know when the start dates would be and all that. But Saturday I already have plans if I am free. I'm taking another trip over to Yosemite. They're supposed to be getting like 5 or 6 inches of snow, and I want to go there when it's snowing again.
Dude, that is seriously not cool. I've been around Christmas when it was cold enough to snow, and for a little bit it did actually snow, but it wasn't like there was really anything on the ground. But that is seriously epic.
So I'll tell you guys, for us, my wife, she reached retirement age a couple years ago to where she was able to qualify for her, at that time, it was $10 for a lifetime pass to national parks. I think now it's went up to 80 a year or so back. But when she got it, it was a $10 deal. So for the price of a tank of gas and just showing that card, you can get into Yosemite. So it's like, if you want to spend, say, $40 for just a awesome day, you can't go wrong with that. And that's the reason why I don't mind taking it. It's like what 150, 160 miles from here. So for a day trip, it's not bad.
Just going from General Salinas, it's about 170 miles.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was to try and go from San Francisco, because I've been there, but I've taken the train. I mean, if I'm just going from General San Francisco to Yosemite, it's about the same distance. But what I would do is I would take the bus to Emeryville, then ride the train over to Merced, and then hop the bus up the 140 into Yosemite.
Yeah, that's the way we go. We go 140. So what we'll do is we'll go from here to Pacheco Pass 152. Take 152 over to the, what is that one? Is it the 58, 59? I forget. Well, it goes from the 152 to Merced. Then from there you take the 140, and that takes you right on up.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: if you guys ever get the chance, unless you're like Jimmy and you're blessed with having that wonderful cheap pass. Otherwise, to drive into Yosemite, it's like, how much is it?
I mean, for a tank of gas is what, 35, 40 bucks?
Yeah, I'm talking like if you don't have that wonderful little.
Oh yeah, to get in, it's like, was it 25 or 30 bucks
minimum?
And that's for us. I think it's a 7-day pass. And it's like, who goes there when you're going there for just a day trip? It's like, how much is it? And it's like, you still have to buy the 7-day pass. They don't just give you a 1-day pass. It's a 7-day pass, no matter what you do.
Let me see. I'm actually looking it up really fast.
I want to say it's 35 or 40 bucks.
Because they're talking about hiking it up, I think. Okay, so yeah, a 7-day pass is 30 bucks.
Yeah.
For per vehicle. So you could have one or a whole bunch of stuff, but
how much is the senior lifetime pass now? 80 bucks?
Annual pass is 60 bucks.
Yeah.
For Yosemite. Senior pass is 80 bucks for life or 20 bucks for 12 months.
See, used to it was 10 bucks and it got you a lifetime pass.
I mean, even though 80 bucks to get in there, if you only go there a couple of times, you've paid for the pass.
Yeah. And we used to buy the season pass. We used to get the year one for the 60 bucks or whatever it was at the time. I think originally it was 40 and I think now it's 60, but that's one we used to get. And then, you know, if I knew somebody that was going to go, it's like, here.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice out there. I mean, I remember my sister who, is like queen of getting things for dirt cheap travel wise, figured out that right around Christmas, room rates were super cheap in Yosemite because nobody was going out there because nobody wanted to freeze to death, which was really nice because Yosemite is awesome, but I hate going out there when it's literally just like wall to wall tourists out there. And I'm like, that kind of kills the point of a national park.
If you wait until June 1st, you will be swamped. If you go this time of year, it's not bad. It's very enjoyable to go there. I mean, it still has traffic, but not near to the point that it is during the summertime. Summertime, it just goes insane. But wintertime, it's actually very accessible during the wintertime. I mean, I'll definitely take the chains with me and everything, but I've been there in the snow and never even had to put the chains on.
Well, we should also note that Jimmy's like an exceptionally good driver and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean,
oh no, I'm not.
Oh crap, are we getting pulled? Oh, we're not getting pulled over by the CHP. That's somebody else. Whoop.
No, they actually have a chain area, and they'll actually look at your tires and then determine whether you need to put chains on or not.
Oh, that's not too bad.
And so they actually let me in there without my chains on, and it was ice on the road. And I didn't have any problem with it as long as you just take it easy.
You don't try going 90 miles an hour down a snowy road.
No.
Yeah,
popped up on Diet Coke.
No, yeah. I mean, every time pretty much every time. Oh, the other thing to keep in mind though is if you do park your car out there, the problem is bears. And if you park your car out there overnight, especially, the problem is bears and cars. Bears smell food. Bear thinks food is in car. Car becomes bear art.
You know, I have been going there now for almost all my life. I've been going to Yosemite, and I have never seen a bear.
I've seen a bear once from a car.
Really?
Yeah, that was it. But yeah, honestly, out there, I think it's like the old saying of they're more scared of you than you are of them.
Yeah.
They definitely, it's not like the animals just come on up to you and say hi. They definitely keep their distance, which is a good thing.
Every time I go there, I always look for a bear, and I have yet to find one.
We had visions of Jimmy running out in the forest going, "Yo, bear, come on out here. Let's
Bear.
Oh, man.
Okay, man, let's call it.
You
need to take some Benadryl and take whatever hot toddy you're going to take and call it a night.
Go on to bed and go to bed. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for stopping by. Thanks for schooling us on the ins and outs of IP, license holding, and everything like that. And as always, you guys are awesome. And next week, we'll be over at Jimmy's channel talking about an undetermined topic. Have you picked one yet?
Definitely isn't going to be about software.
We got our butts handed to us on that one.
Hey, it was your choice.
I know. I knew that we were definitely going to get some good commentary going on, but like I said, this is not so much a fact show as much as it is an opinion show.
I was going to talk about putting M&Ms in a PLA cup.
Seriously, you should do that with your little chalice.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining. Have a great night. Take care, and we will catch you next week on my channel, Tuesday night at 10:30 p.m.
Sounds good. See you guys later.
Bye.